4:30 p.m. on March 25, 1911, a fire broke out at the Triangle Shirtwaist Company building in New York City. The building was labeled fireproof, however the fabrics and employees inside were not. Few could escape from the blaze as there were no sprinklers, and the doors were locked to prevent lollygagging while on the job. The fire department also had trouble extinguishing the blaze. This was due to the fact that they had no ladders or hoses that could reach the top floors, and the safety nets ripped when large groups of workers jumped into them at once. That day, 146 people were killed in the fire. Lawsuits were filed, but the jury was convinced that the mostly female workforce had panicked, and the owners were not held responsible. Child labor was considered vital to the workforce. This was justified under the guise that if children are not working, then they are very dangerous, because idle hands are the devil's playground. Roughly one-third of all factory workers were between the ages of 7 and 12, with some as young as 4. By 1900, there were 1,750,000 child laborers working full-time in factories. Many children were taken from orphanages to be exposed to the deplorable conditions of the factories. Children were often whipped or had weights tied to their necks to work faster. Children could be dipped headfirst into a cistern of dirty water if they complained of being tired. Kids were also forced to eat their meals at their machines to increase productivity. This caused debris and dust to accumulate on the food. If a child laborer ran away, then they could be imprisoned. Women also suffered under the terrible conditions in factories. Approximately one-fifth of all women over age 10 worked in a factory. That number increased to 1 in 4 by 1920. 75% of all women working in factories were foreign-born, and 40% of the industrial workers worked in textiles. Many suffered from tuberculosis or pneumonia while toiling in the 115-degree heat in the factories. Pay was also an issue for most. Women were paid roughly $5 to $10 less than their male counterparts, yet black women even less, barely making $7.50 a week. The reasoning behind this comes from a factory owner saying, quote, "Because they can live off a whole lot less than a white girl. They live in a little old shack house and they don't care what they eat anyhow." In addition, if an employee is injured on the job, no one is allowed to stop working to help them. In the employee's absence, they are to receive no compensation of any kind for their time out of work and are still expected to pay their bills.